don't want to be talking about this no more than 30 minutes. I really don't. Honestly, truly, I just want to go to I want to have a different scenery. You know what I'm saying? What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica, honey. I don't know what the hell is going on. I've been trying to get this camera together for how many minutes? I don't know how many minutes, but it's getting on my nerves. Happy Monday. I need to get my car washed, and I should have did that this weekend. Happy Monday. What's going on, honey? We are down here to talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Oh, okay. I didn't forget my water. I thought I forgot my water. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know you stopped by, honey. I'm down here late, I want to say like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours after the time, because I was really contemplating on making a review of the show, a recap. After this, we're going to talk about Bell Collective. I was listening. I don't remember who was on the episode, but I heard Carlos King say something that I thought it really resonated with me. When he said he doesn't want to keep talking about the same things every week. I understand these stories are continuous, going from, episode to episode, right? But this thing with Candy and Marlo, I feel like I'm talking about something that doesn't make sense, and it's exhausting to talk about something that doesn't make sense and to sit here and try to rationalize something that doesn't make sense to me, even with evidence and facts and things like that. It's like, why are we sitting here having a discussion about the way that Marlo is showing up with Candy? I was all for, you can go back and watch my old reviews. I was all for Marlo giving Candy hell. But if it made sense, and I feel like she's grasping at imaginary straws. None of it makes sense. Her rationalization for why she's doing it doesn't make sense. And if I'm down here discussing some shit that doesn't make sense, I'm feeling like it's like talking to somebody who's gaslighting you. Have you ever, I'm sure you've had that experience. One or two of you have had the experience of trying to talk to someone who's gaslighting you, right? It's just like, it's exhausting. And it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, why are we here discussing week after week Marlo's rationalization of how Candy is showing up in their friendship, with quotes around friendship, okay? Because it's not a friendship. Yes, Marlo and Candy have known each other for a long time, but bitch, that does not mean we are friends. That's one. Marlo is sitting amongst her two friends, and they are talking about Candy, right? And I don't want my friends to, what do they call it? Confirmation bias is when they're agreeing with you just because y'all are friends, even though the shit don't make no sense. I feel like that's a disservice in friendships. Tell me the truth, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Be honest. I mean, show up, but with care. Give me constructive criticism. Like, you know what, Marlo? I don't know if Candy is responsible, or you should have these expectations of Candy. Like, tell me that. If I'm like, Marlo's friends were not, they were like not helpful in the situation. They were almost making it seem like Candy was wrong or is wrong, and Marlo is somehow right in this situation. They talk about how Candy, nobody can confront Candy. That isn't true. The way that Candy moves around season after season, she does not put herself or get herself into situations where she can be confronted. And you are choosing this scenario to, confront Candy when it doesn't even make sense. What are you confronting her about? If we're friends, that's why we know you're not her friend, because you're trying to bring up something that has a negative tone to her businesses. Candy got businesses. You know what I'm saying? And you trying to say something happened, we already got that handled. Now, on the other end of that, Marlo has a point. This is where I say that Marlo may not be a good fit for this group, because for this friend group, if you want to call it that, we're just going to call it a friend group for the sake of calling it a friend group. We know that these women are not friends, because if they were friends, they would have known that Cairo had a goddamn baby. Oh my God, everybody's surprised that Cairo had a baby. None of y'all knew Cairo had a baby. So y'all not friends. Anyways, right. None of y'all knew Sheree was a grandma. Yeah, right. Because none of y'all are friends. Okay. So let's just call it a friend group. But I feel like if you are going to keep bringing up Marlo's past, which is decades old, right? If you're going to keep bringing that up in every altercation that you guys are in, maybe she's not a good fit for the friend group, right? Maybe y'all don't want anybody with a criminal past in your friend group if you keep throwing it in their faces, right? Marlo says Candy can't use the show for her businesses. Okay. I feel like that can go both ways. If that's all you're using it for, because Candy does use the show as a way to launch business ventures. She does. Or she takes something from the show and launches a business from that. Something that happened on the show. Marlo says her family was, quote unquote, shocked that Candy didn't do anything. At one point, she mentions Candy and OLG catering the funeral. I really feel like this expectation for Candy to come out of pocket and to use her resources to make Marlo feel a certain way, to do something for Marlo where it has to be like some money being exchanged. I feel like that's her whole ass mentality. Because every time your friends there doesn't have to be a transaction or an exchange of money for someone to prove to you that they are your friend in a time of need. Sorry. These expectations that Candy or OLG should have catered the funeral girl, that's crazy. How do you have an expectation of someone who, by the unseen footage at the beginning, y'all are okay? At one point, Candy says, I don't know why the people bring up Marlo's past because she's kind-hearted. That's Candy giving people, doing what she does, which I think is a character flaw, and a severe character flaw. This thing where I don't know if she wants to be the bigger person. I don't know if Candy does shit for people to, I've helped you, out of the kindness of her heart, or if she's doing it as a way. I don't know. I don't know what the intentions are. I can't say. You don't know what's in. I don't know. Sonya scene plays. I'm going to skip over that. I did say the other day, maybe Sonya and her family can stay on the show, but I'm looking at it like, maybe Sonya should not have. I don't know, child. Anyways, Kenya is opening a Kenya Moore hair spa. It's a legacy for Brooklyn. She was talking to her friend Akila. Is that her name? And she was talking about, she was talking about how she's been married for 5 years. No, 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 no. Well, yeah, you've been legally bound through a marriage license to someone for 5 years, but you have not been in a marriage for 5 years. And she mentions how Kale Me Crazy, KMC, is that what they call them? Kale Me Crazy, Roy, that they don't really see each other a lot, and how could you kind of like, form a relationship onto, committed relationship with somebody that you don't see a lot. She was like, me and Mark were married after 7 months. I've known Roy a year and we're nowhere near marriage. Right. Because like I said on Twitter last night, Kenya was desperate, and she found a narcissist who wanted to attach himself to a beauty queen. And he's going to hold on. The way that Martell is trying to hold on to Melody is the way that Mark is trying to hold on to Kenya. He has some relevancy. He has some notoriety if he's attached to the beauty queen. And she fell for the okie doke and the nose ring, honey. And at least she got her baby out of it. But that wasn't a marriage. Your desperation led you into this type of relationship, and now you've been getting a divorce for longer than you've been actually married, which is absolutely crazy. I said, yeah, because he wanted to trap you, is what I said. Oh, wait a minute. Sheree and Cairo with the baby, Mecca. I was so mad at them in that hand ornament little thing because they didn't spread the baby's fingers out far enough. They were annoying me trying to get her, the little baby's handprint on there. Todd and Candy are sitting there talking. Candy is talking about Todd's screenplay that he's written for this, play or a movie. I don't know what he's trying to make. I think it's a movie. And she calls Kenya on FaceTime. Kenya is at a birthday party. See Kenya, did she have on a red wig or a pink wig? I couldn't tell. But she's at some, I don't know if it was a Little Mermaid party or what it was, but they were out there swimming. Candy sent the kids. She wasn't able to go. She sent the nanny or whatever, child, and she couldn't go. But Kenya proceeds to tell her about what Marlo said about the nephew, and you saw how Candy is so disconnected from it. She kept calling the boy Marlo's cousin. That's how disconnected from it. I'm not even connecting that this is your nephew. This has nothing to do with me. I feel like it is unreasonable for Marlo to expect something out of Candy for Marlo's nephew dying or being murdered, and expecting just because he had an affiliation with Candy. They got pictures. So what? I got pictures. Honey, you'd be surprised who I got pictures with now. I'm going to expect them because I didn't work for them for a second. I'm going to expect them to do something for a funeral? Girl, bye. Drew's scene comes up, and I just basically I said it last night on Twitter, knowing that Drew and Ralph got a divorce or filed for a divorce or was racing down to the courthouse to get a divorce after the season was over. I don't want to see any of their scenes. I want these actors off of my television screen. I feel like Drew should have been demoted to a friend of and only show up when there are group events. I don't care to see anything about Drew Zadora's personal story. Nothing. Drew mentioned something about not saying shooting, and everybody in their interviews are like, girl, nobody in the world has ever heard of that. And the fact that she's like, her eyes doing all this, we don't say shooting in Chicago. Girl, shut up. That's not true. That's just not true. It's not true. At Courtney's event, they're supposed to be doing some kind of escape room. Everybody shows up. When Candy shows up, Sonia asks her if she's good, and she says no, she's not. And then, Candy says, I just want to know about, what is this about? I'm hearing stories. I'm not going to be cool until I get this off my chest. What is this about you and your cousin that I had something to do? And she was like, my nephew. You try to sugarcoat things. And Candy basically said, you're trying to attach this to me. Don't do that. I'm mad because you ignore things and people allow you to get away with things. What is Candy trying to get away with? Everybody knows that these incidents happen at Candy's restaurant. Now you're trying to say that you were triggered by it. It just doesn't make sense. And I feel like spending time on what doesn't make sense is a waste of time. That's exactly how I feel. They go off to the side. Drew, I was about to say Monroe. What's the girl's name? Marlo. Drew, Marlo, and Candy go off to the side. They start talking about it. When Manetta, they were like getting a little, animated with the conversation. Candy is getting frustrated. I feel like Candy is righteous in her frustration because, girl, what are you doing? Like, it doesn't even make sense. And I feel like you keep trying to do something that doesn't make sense. I really wish that Candy paid Marlo dust the way that Kenya keeps paying her dust. Because that's why Marlo keeps fucking with Kenya, because Kenya won't grab onto the hook and engage with Marlo. So she's pissed off because Marlo's wound is not being acknowledged. That's Marlo's wound. If you don't acknowledge Marlo, she's triggered by that. And that's her wound. Kenya knows that. So Kenya doesn't F with her. And she doesn't give her what she's trying to get out of her. Right? So she's frustrated. And so she's going to keep coming after Kenya, because the only way you can have an exchange with me is through conflict. You're not getting friendship. You're not getting me being cordial. None of that. You're getting none of that. What does that say about your character when she says, why don't we bring up basically Marlo's past? Candy, bringing up Marlo's past, what is that saying about your character is what Marlo is saying. That you can bring up my past, but I can't bring up something from 2 years ago. Again, it doesn't make sense. If you had a problem, you should have said something. Drew is saying that Marlo is being aggressive. Now, you don't have to be outwardly aggressive for your words, your tone, and your delivery to be construed as aggressive, right? You don't have to be swinging your arms. Marlo said, I wasn't being aggressive because I keep my hand on my hips, but I did see Marlo have her hands, like holding her hands in front of her body, right? To show that, I know that a lot of people do that to show that they're being non-threatening, but your words, you are towering over her. She is short. Short people have a problem with people towering over them. They don't know what you're going to do, which is understandable. Candy gets upset and she goes forward to Marlo, and then Kenya gets up. Kenya was like, oh, wait a minute. So Kenya gets up. She walks over there. As soon as Kenya walks over there, she grabs Candy and she says, no, come on, right? I think Candy didn't know it was Kenya at first until she kind of looked in her eyes. I think Candy was already gone at that point. Kenya grabs her, and then later Candy tells her, which I agree, listen, if she pops off and she wants to start fighting, basically, do not hold me back. And I said it on Twitter. I was here for Candy saying, do not hold me back if this bitch wants to get active, because you're not going to allow her to hit me, right? Or whatever it is, or get aggressive or get physical with me, and you holding me back for fear that I got businesses, right? So this is Candy preparing for battle. Bitch, let me tell you something. She looking at Kenya like, if she pops off, do not hold me back. Basically, let me at this bitch. That's what I got from it, right? Only reason I'm crying is because I can't choke your ass, bitch. And that's what it is. That's what makes you even more angry, right? Angrier, it makes you angrier, is when you start crying about something, is because you really want to level this motherfucker, right? You want to demolish everybody in the room, and you're crying because you know you can't. You have a lot to lose, but bitch, I'm crying. And a lot of people do that. I do that. When I'm really upset, you start crying because you really want to get at that person and you can't. I really want to choke your ass, bitch, but I can't. So the only release that I have out of wringing your head off of your neck is tears. That's actually saving you quietly. You can't confront Candy. Her character is awful. They show unseen footage of Candy saying that Marlo is really a kind person. You know what? The truth is, we have both inside of us. We can be kind, and in one instance with other people, we can be completely evil and unkind, right? Marlo is probably kind to the people who are, yeah. So like I said, we can be kind and unkind to the people who we choose to be kind and unkind to. We have both in us. We have, but where they have the angels on, the angel and the devil on each shoulder. You choose who you want to be kind to, and you choose who you want to be unkind to, right? So yes, Marlo might be kind, but she can also be an asshole too. We can all be both, right? Sonia says, why does it have to go there? We always have to put Candy in the best light. Girl, I don't know. Drew was saying Marlo was about to fight Candy. Candy says she didn't feel threatened. I said maybe Marlo isn't right for the friend group if they keep bringing up her past. And that's it. That's all I have. I'm not going to spend time talking about shit that doesn't make sense, because that makes me crazy as well. So girl, y'all can get on the crazy circus. Join the crazy circus as it comes to town. Go in there with your tickets and stuff. That's why I stopped reviewing Love and Marriage Huntsville, because after a while talking about the same thing over and over again and shit that doesn't make sense, people are not going to change. We're going to see the same storyline over and over again. It just doesn't make sense to me. So that's my review for Housewives of Atlanta, y'all. I don't know what else to say. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you think of it. The only part that stood out to me is the only reason why I'm crying is because I can't choke your ass, bitch. And that's some relatable shit for me. Anyways, take care of each other. Protect your energy. Let's get down in the comments. Peace.